Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar this month. This is Chad Erickson with Advice Media, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here today. We've got some great information to share with you, especially with a new Google update, and so excited to get this information to you. We do have a slight change in our presenter today. We had a little conflict that came up, and I'm actually going to fill in today for Joe Varlak from our team. So I'm excited to do that today and to be able to present to you. I get a chance to do this a lot when I'm on the road, and Joe and I worked on this together, but I'm looking forward to really helping you understand everything that's going on with this recent change and what it means for you and what you should be doing about it. As always, I certainly welcome your questions. I'll be moderating those today. If you do have those, please use the control panel and enter your questions in there, and I will be able to grab those here at the end. I'm anticipating today going about 30 to 35 minutes, so not too long. So we'll get you back to your workday if you're listening live. But do have some great information to share with you, and it's actually really critical information that really could impact you if it's something that hasn't been taken care of. But I'll explain more about that. But again, look forward to diving into this more with you. Let me begin by talking about some of the other changes that have happened with Google over the years. It's I don't know if you knew this or not, but Google makes thousands of changes every single year to their algorithm, to their search results. It's estimated to be somewhere around 1,200 on average. So it's a massive thing. You think about all these updates that are happening that Google conducts. And if we understand some of the history of what Google does, really their whole premise is really to make money. Let's not kid ourselves. This is a company that makes over $90 billion, and 90% of their revenue comes from people clicking on the paid ads. And that's a significant number when you think about that. I mean, I have a hard time contemplating what 90 billion really looks like, but it's a lot. But the idea is that they have to provide great things to us, things that we're going to use and interact with. That's why we get Gmail for free. That's why we use Google Drive. That's why we have the Google Search. And they want to be a great experience, so we keep coming back, and then later on we click on things and when people make money. And we watch videos on YouTube and they make money. So it's a great model. They've done a great job with it. But I'm going to take you through kind of the last 10 years of some of the most important changes that have happened with Google. I didn't go back much further than that. Probably the other biggest one beyond that was the inclusion of Google Maps that came out in 2005. But I talked about some of the updates that have happened to that. But here's some of the changes, and kind of take a look at some of these. So one of the first changes that was really big was in May of 2007 with universal search. It used to be that if you type something in the searches, you got 10 results and that was it. And they changed that immediately. It's like, well, are you looking for results on the web? Are you looking for related images or related videos? Are you looking for maps or news or shopping? Any of those pieces. So that changed. Also, they went away from just having the 10 listings. Suddenly, it might be 15, which we saw that for a while. Then you started seeing the inclusion of Google Adwords, more prominently with it. So it has adjusted a lot. And the Google Map listings were another 7. So on the homepage at one point, it wasn't unusual to have 19 to 20 plus different search results that were showing up there. So that was a major that back in May of 2007. August of 2008 is when Google Suggest came out. Crazy to think that that was 9 years ago. But you'll see this when you begin typing into the drop-down box. This example shows a weather forecast, but it knows things that you're interested in. It's predicting things not only for your location, but things that you like. That's the intelligent level that Google has developed. And of course, it's been modified and updated many times over, but this was a huge deal when it came out. They now call it Google Instant, but it's a huge change that came about. Again, just trying to enhance the user experience and user interface online, making it a better options. Big change came out in April of 2010 with Google places and the map listings. It was originally rolled out with maps. It came out in 2009, but then really kind of was rebranded and separated. And so, it's morphed many times. We're back to, Google My Business and Google Business listings, and a lot of that's tied in with Google Plus today. But that was really the initial piece, was back in April of 2010. It was another way also to enhance local marketing that was out there. February 2011 was one of the biggest shakeups that we had seen. It was a major change, and what they were really looking for was Google was trying to crack down on websites that had a lot of duplicate content. It could be these content farms, people that were, or just not very good content. A couple months ago, Darren Siegel gave a presentation. He talked about where Google really started, talked about their background was in Stanford, the two founders, and they were looking for a way to really index the Stanford library as part of a senior project. It was always about content. The search engine wasn't quite there yet, the websites weren't there yet, but that was their whole premise. And it really came to light for them in 2011. We, as a marketing company, it was a major deal for us because we used to be able to manipulate content, and we could have websites, showing up on page 1 for breast augmentation in New York City within a couple of days. It wasn't that difficult because we could, stuff it with content. Content could be duplicate. And we used to use old techniques way back when you could actually mask the content as the same color as the background, and it wasn't even relevant, but you could do those things. Well, Google caught up, and again, the end result was creating a better experience for you and I, and more of a customized and personalized experience when we go online. We have to admit that it's actually much better. It's much better today than it ever was back then. And so, I will tell you this, that when it hit, it caused a major shakeup, and we saw a lot of websites decline the rankings, and it took some time to get them back online. March of 2011 was another thing that came out, and this is an unusual one for Google. They were really lagging behind when it came to social media, which honestly they missed the boat when it came to social media. And in an effort to try to keep up with Twitter and Facebook, they launched a +1 button. They hadn't even launched Google Plus at this point. It was just a +1 button. It was an opportunity for the users to really influence the search. So, for example, if you found a website that you liked and you were to +1 that, they would show signals to Google that this is important content. People are looking at this and reviewing it. And that was, again, just an answer for them to try to keep up with Facebook and Twitter. So again, very unusual that they were that far behind. They really missed the boat on this one, and they've admitted that over time. We saw that it was June 2011 when Google Plus came out. They had failed launches many times on trying to get a social media platform out. They just honestly didn't get it. They discounted it. They didn't think it was that big of a deal. And in that regard, Facebook ate their lunch. And now there's been, of course, spin-offs, and you think about, the Instagrams and the Snapchats and a myriad of others that are out there and being used. And Twitter is, of course, still huge. But they created Google Plus. But they went after it aggressively, and this was a kind of a significant thing. They were able to get 10 million followers in the first 2 weeks after launching. And what people were doing, they were clamoring towards this. These were early adopters that wanted this because they understood that if I go into the Google environment and I use Google's tools and I put up my content on there and I have people that go like it, it's going to give more positive signals to Google and improve my rankings, and it did. And it still has some of that, but not as much. But again, it's one of those where if Google could go back and rethink that, they would have a much different social media platform. They eventually just kind of said, we're going to tie Google Plus into our local map searches and make that the owner of that, and people will still use it, but it still has not gone where they would have liked to have gone. April 2012 was another significant update that happened, and they called it Penguin. And the Penguin update was really trying to get rid of spam factors that came online. And this was another thing that we were able to do for a long time. We were able to have massive backlinks coming in, and many of you probably remember this. It was not unusual to have thousands and thousands of backlinks coming in from all kinds of random websites and random countries. I mean, there are link farms in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, doesn't matter. And just by building up more and more of those and linking in these networks, it was basically trying to show a popularity contest online. So imagine, and I liken this to what we used to do. It was like, okay, if I can get someone with more link juice coming into someone that doesn't have as much, it's going to make them more popular. It would be like going into high school. And I know none of you want to think about that again because you're way beyond that, but going back into high school as a freshman, if the kids at the senior table at lunchtime invited the freshman to come sit with them, that freshman would have immediate credibility. Well, that's what we were trying to do was to get all these links coming in, but it was more about the quantity rather than the quality, and that's the distinction. So if you hear, well, we shouldn't have backlinks, no, I never said that. They need to be quality backlinks today, not from these link farms. So it's quality over quantity was the big change. They also wanted to get rid of this over-optimization. People were doing a lot of keyword stuffing. You would see a lot of times in the footer of a website the same terms mentioned over and over and over again, done away with. People, in fact, they even took away keywords as part of the back end. They still would look at meta descriptions and title tags and H1 tags, but got away from keywords as part of an improvement or SEO tactic that we would use because it got out of control. So anyway, that was another big shakeup that came about. August 2013 was Hummingbird, and I'll tell you a little bit about this one that I found very interesting. A couple of things that stood out to me when Hummingbird came. After the initial Panda and Penguin, which were major updates, not only were they done initially, but they were done for a while on almost a monthly basis. Another iteration of Panda and Penguin was getting updated. So it continued to change the original search engine that Google had. It became kind of this old engine that had been modified so many times, almost like a house that just has so many add-ons. Eventually something just doesn't feel right. So literally overnight, they swapped out the old engine and put in this new Hummingbird engine for their search. It incorporated everything that had been improved over the last several years. It was just able to run faster, smoother, incorporated everything that they were looking for. So it's one way to think about it. The Hummingbird metaphor was we're fast, we're quick, we're mobile, we're right there. But again, it was a huge deal. In fact, it was one of those where we kind of knew that a change was coming. We actually thought it was happening in September or October, and we started to see major changes. And then Google announced, we actually did it a few weeks ago. And we weren't surprised because of the changes we'd seen, but we were really kind of prepared for it. So it wasn't a huge deal, but it was still big. The other major part of this is that last bullet there. It was one of the very first steps forward that Google had in creating what is the technical term referring to semantic search results. In layperson's terms, what that means is trying to give more personal results to an individual. If I go online and I'm doing a search for a new suit, it's going to give me results for things I'm going to be interested in and for stores that are local to me. It's not going to send me to a store I'm not interested in, and it's not going to send me to some place across the country. So again, it's really trying to personalize those results and become more integrated in my daily life. You probably start to see, the latest iterations of that on your phone. As you go to a new location, Google says, I see that you're here. How's your experience here? Or you get into your car and it tells you this many minutes to work, or it's going to be this many minutes to your drive home. And it's really trying to become this intelligent instrument to help us have, again, a better online experience and to enhance our lives. That is the intent. And I know it feels a little bit creepish, like the robots are taking over, but again, this is all part of this improvement process. July 2014 was sort of their next big update. This was another target for local search results. It was called Pigeon, and it really changed the local search queues. Really, you've seen this push over and over again. local businesses, making sure that as people are searching local, that they're finding people in their area, that they can see those local results. This had a big impact on that, because up to this point, while it was trying to personalize things, it was still, you could be searching sometimes and see results from other places. I travel a lot, and one of the nice things is that when I put in a result, it says, I know you're searching for that in your New York office, but you live in Park City, Utah, and so it will show me some local things, but it's actually local things where I'm at then, but it will also show me results back home, knowing that's probably where I'm at. Unless it's like a restaurant or hotel, it knows those are items that are really central to that area. So it's gotten really smart on those cues, and again, created a better search result experience for the end user. And then probably the biggest one was April 2015, and this is one of the first and last times that Google had pre-announced a major change to their search results. We do have this announcement that I'm going to talk about today with SSL certificates, but a little bit different because it applies to their Chrome browser more than the actual search results. But this announcement really shook things up, and it really came out and stated that if you did not have a mobile version of your website, preferably a mobile responsive version, that Google was going to penalize websites when people were searching on their mobile devices. And it happened. There was a major declines in mobile search results for those that did not get on board with that. And Google, again, if you are online searching, they want to show websites that have complied so that the user experience is great. If people are having to pinch and pull to look at a website, that's a bad user experience. They're not going to like that. They're going to go somewhere else. They're frustrated with Google, even though Google isn't the control of that. It's the people at the website, but they want to try to make that as good as possible. Anyway, huge deal on Mobilegeddon. That was definitely a fun time, and we were able to help a lot of our doctors improve and get their websites updated, which we've been pushing for a long time, but that became very significant. And you see it where mobile search, as of the end of 2016, passed up desktop search. People are on their phones all the time. It's a huge deal. If you're still one of those dinosaurs that has not changed, talk to us. We can help you. Next big change that came out was in February of 2016, over a year ago, major AdWords shakeup. You'll recall that they used to have the 3 AdWords at the top of the page. They had a huge section on the right side of your screen and some at the bottom. They did away with all the ads on the right. They actually started incorporating 4, 5, sometimes 6 ads at the top. Eventually, over the past year, they actually included on some of the map listings, where the first result in the map listings is a paid search as well, still more at the bottom. As I mentioned, Google's a $90 billion company, and most of that money is coming in from AdWords. If you want to explore AdWords, talk to me later. We are a Google preferred partner. AdWords work when done well and done right. They absolutely get results, but this was a huge change they made in the way that people were looking online and the way that things worked. So now really to the meat of our topic today, kind of understanding this history. But again, I share that with you so you understand that Google is not trying to be the bad guy. I know that they're a little bit of the bully on the block, because when they say something, you really have to follow, or else you're going to fall behind. It's going to cost you literal money. So you really have to pay attention to them and what they say. So let's kind of dive into SSL, and I'll start with kind of explaining what is an SSL certificate. Whether or not you know the term doesn't matter. You actually are familiar with it, because I can guarantee that each and every one of you has shopped online at least once, and that's where the initial piece came out, was you needed an SSL certificate for any shopping site because you were processing protected information, namely your credit card. And so being able to have what, you'd see the HTTPS, the S stood for secure. So it meant that you had an SSL certificate. So, you can read these bullet points on there, but essentially it's providing a secure way to encrypt the communication between the internet and the website browser. And it stands for secure sockets layer. So don't need to worry about technical, but that's really what it is. Again, at the end of the day, it's about providing encryption on your content. and it's really protecting, the patient and the website users and their data. Not even talking about HIPAA. That's a whole nother topic. This is all about talking about this SSL certificate, is protecting this data as it's transitioned off of the website. And example pages for this, it could be your payment pages, online forms, pages with a contact form. Those are some of the things you want to maintain and really keep secure. Next item is what did Google announce, and what does it really mean? So they've announced that SSL certificates do influence search. They've said that, honestly, we've tracked it. We don't know that we can validate that yet. We've watched that closely. We've put it on for a lot of our doctors and have not seen those changes in the searches. But they say it's there, and so even if it's a slight piece, you don't want to ignore that. But this is where the second bullet point here is where it becomes significant for you and where you really need to pay attention. It's stated that sites that do not have an SSL certificate will begin showing not secure in the URL bar. So next to your name, your URL, it could be drsmith.com. If someone is filling out a form on your website or putting something in the search area, and maybe it's filling out information for your newsletter, if you do not have an SSL certificate, then next to your domain name, it will say not secure. That's happening immediately. They've not announced when on this third bullet point, but they said in the near future, could be November or December, when they do their next update on Chrome. Again, this applies to the Chrome browser, that in the near future, if there's a page, any page on your website will show not secure if you do not have an SSL certificate for your entire website. So again, they come to your website, you don't have an SSL certificate, doesn't matter what page, it will say not secure. So that's a critical piece, because what that really means is that people are going to lack confidence in what's happening. But here's an example of how this would look. So they're on there, they go to the search bar, they type in anything, and you see where not secure pops up. That's what will happen to your website if you don't have that. So critical, it's absolutely critical that you get this on your website as quickly as possible. As I started to talk about, here's why you need this. First of all, data protection. Secondly, it's a trust and security issue. It's really about confidence. If someone comes to your website and it says not secure, they're going to be extremely hesitant to stay on the website, and furthermore, to even give you their information to fill out a contact form or to enter into a chat if you don't have this. That's going to lead to a decline in the number of leads. It's going to lead to a decrease in getting in. It's a financial problem if you don't take care of that. So huge problem on that. I can tell you that I was talking to a friend of mine, and this is an absolute tragic story. And he was using an email correspondence 2 weeks ago, and he's a big developer. He was working on a project, and he needed to transfer over $350,000 to the actual developer. So he had this money ready to go, and the company said, "Go ahead. Here's the wire transfer information. Let's do a wire transfer." As soon as wire transfer was mentioned, there are people out there that were searching for that. They were hacked in because it didn't have security. They were able to send an email that looked like it was masked from the other company with not wrong. It was certainly not the company's real wire transfer stuff. He initiated the transfer, sent it off, and that money was gone. His brother works for the FBI. His brother said, "This is what we're dealing with more and more, is the cyber issues." And that $350,000 was gone. He could not recuperate it. It was just history. And he's been scrambling for a couple of weeks to figure out what to do. So again, just being aware, paying attention, looking for these things, but being as secure as possible in everything that you do is absolutely critical in today's world. I know that coming up at the Global Aesthetics Conference in the beginning of November in Miami, one of the main topics they're going to have there is on cybersecurity. This is just one of those steps that you should be taking to make sure that your website is secure as possible. Is it foolproof? No. You hear about the hacking stuff last week with Equifax and all those groups. So, you know, it can still happen, but you do everything you can to protect yourself. Again, one more step in the right direction, but also building patient confidence where it's needed. All right, so what is the process for adding an SSL? Well, I don't mean to be elusive on this, but I can tell you that it depends on several factors. And I'll go through a few of those with you. One of them could be the age of your website. Someone who's got a website that is maybe 4 years or older, your website might be very difficult to update, and you actually might need to redo your site. It's very possible. Someone who's on a very old platform, I can guarantee needs to redo their website, because trying to add it in to every single page and putting in that time, it's actually going to be less expensive to build a new website with today's technology. If your website launched in the last 1 to I would say 3 years, then it's usually about maybe 2 to 3 hours of work at the most for us to go in, or for your company to go in, doesn't matter who it is, to go in and get that SSL certificate added onto your website. If you would like to know, first of all, if your website has a certificate, and then the next steps, feel free to contact me. I'm here to help you. I have one of my marketing consultants that are specialists in this contact you today. They'll take a look at your site. We're talking about maybe a 5-minute phone call with you to talk about, yes, it's there, here's your options, here's what we can do for you, and to make it right. But this is an absolutely huge deal. That's what I have today. Looking for a couple questions here. Let me get over to my panel. So a couple of these questions I just answered. Yes. So how long will it take? You let us know today or tomorrow. It's going to take, like I said, a couple hours to get in the queue, so it doesn't take very long to go ahead and add that on there. Someone who needs a new website, we can do new websites, depending on if it's a full custom site or one of our theme sites. It could be anywhere from 4 weeks to maybe 12 weeks. So somewhere in that ballpark, again, depending on what you need. But that's kind of it. So it's kind of interesting today to be the moderator of my own webinar, but it's a pleasure. Again, if you have any questions, you want just a quick analysis of this, let me know. Please send me an email. That's also a phone number. That's our office phone number there. I know it says cell, but it's not. Call the office, because I'm traveling, so we'll get you routed to the right person. But please let me know. We're here to help you. No obligation, no pressure. We just want to make sure that you are secure and compliant with Google. When Google says to do something, it's critical that you do it, so that you don't fall in violation of them and really hurt your own business. So again, if you have any questions, want to talk later, I'm happy to do that. Look forward to helping you, and look forward to seeing you again next month with our next webinar. Wishing everyone a happy and safe week. All those that are maybe in track with this next hurricane, we wish you all the best. Those that have family and loved ones in Mexico, we are thinking of you and praying for you as well. I've got friends there, and it's boy, it's just crazy all the stuff happening right now. So we pray for them and wish them all the best. And my friends that are celebrating Rosh Hashanah this week, wish you all the best as well, and Happy New Year. So best everyone. Have a wonderful day. Look forward to talking to you, and see you again next month. Take care.